On a hot summer afternoon in the suburbs of Tucson, Arizona, the scorching sun scorched the dry grass and trees until they were wilted. On a rusty barbed wire fence next to a deserted road, a motionless owl hung in midair. Its wide black eyes stared, as if petrified by extreme pain. No one knew if it was alive or dead, only the haunting and heartbreaking tragedy. It could have been accidentally trapped while flying, or worse, intentionally trapped by someone. Owls have long been hated by many people, considered a sign of bad luck and always shunned. Thomas Grady, a single man living nearby, happened to walk by and stopped short. The sight was so horrific that his heart clenched, his whole body froze for a moment. Without hesitation, he walked closer to the bird, his heart pounding when he saw the wide, motionless eyes. If it's dead, he thought, I'll take it down and give it a proper burial. When he reached out to touch it, the owl's eyes moved, slightly but unmistakably. Thomas gasped, shaking with surprise. The owl was still alive, if only in a fragile state. He took off his coat and wrapped it gently around the animal's body, trying not to cause it any more pain. One of its wings had been pierced by barbed wire, and was red and bleeding heavily. The owl didn't cry, just trembled, and looked at him with eyes that were both scared and exhausted. Despite its weakness, it still tried to flap its remaining wing as a last act of self-defense. Thomas whispered reassuringly, then carefully removed each ring of steel from its feathers and bleeding skin. When the owl was removed, it collapsed into his arms as if giving up the long fight. He placed it on the passenger seat of the car, still wrapped in his coat like a temporary cocoon. Carefully tightening the seatbelt around it, he silently prayed that the animal would endure a little longer. The owl was silent all the way to the clinic, only occasionally glancing at the strange man. Each time the car shook, Thomas turned to gently stroke its head and whisper words of comfort. When the car stopped in front of the Midtown Veterinary Clinic, the owl fainted, its eyes finally closing. Thomas carried it inside, his voice hoarse, "It's still alive, please save this owl." The doctors immediately took action, disinfecting the wound, anesthetizing it, and preparing for emergency surgery. A tense hour passed, and the owl was finally transferred to the recovery room in a stable condition. For the next 4 days, Thomas came every day, sitting for hours next to the cage to monitor the owl. He brought crushed food, whispered to it, patiently waiting for it to recover little by little. The owl gradually regained consciousness, moved its legs, and blinked when it recognized the familiar gaze of its savior. On the 5th day, the doctor said, "It won't be able to fly far anymore, but it can live normally." Thomas nodded, gently saying, "Then I will take it home, if it agrees to stay." And so the owl, named Ash, began a new life, no longer hanging on the fence. Dear friend, thank you for taking the time to follow the story. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to support us.